has persisted. We know it has come down to below the levels achieved during the pre-crisis era, that is 2004 to 2008. There, Africa as a whole, or Sub-Saharan Africa, registered 6.5% growth. That was significantly high. And then the crisis hit in 2008, and growth was slightly affected, but returned quickly. And now, in 2011, it registered 5%. And that was among the highest. As you know, that Europe is burning, and other regions also.
Though the findings reveal that the sub-Saharan Africa banking systems have proved resilient to the threat and that vulnerability to ongoing financial stress are moderate in the continent, the same findings emphasize that there should be no room for complacency. Since the Western world, as major suppliers of goods and services to the continent, is enduring a shock economic recession, the cost for these goods and services thus have the potent to take its toll on the continent's economy.
Going through the document that has been given to us, which is a flagship publication of the IMF, is noteworthy that despite the crisis in most regional economies today, sub-Saharan Africa continues to record positive growth as our regional output grew by 5% last year, and the projections are pointing to the fact that in 2012 there is going to be a slight increase as well. Ladies and gentlemen, although our economy is performing creditably well today, we must not lose sight of the threats that is posed by the increasing financial crisis, especially in the Eurozone, and the possibility of the rise in the prices of oil and oil products due to social unrest in our continent and the world at large.
The findings are discussed in this outreach forum also spell out some financial policies in the sub-Saharan Africa banking systems that need to be pursued in order to maintain the financial resilience in the systems for continuous maximum economic growth. Here is one of those recommended policies. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. His Excellency Sheikh Professor Al-Hadi.
There is direct relationship between the economic growth of a country.
And this 5-hectare maize field that you are seeing here in Ilyasa village.
No matter how, where, when and who is involved, our corps of reporters will always be there to bring you the news as it happens.
Welcome back. Leaders of developed and developing nations have concluded the Earth Summit in Brazil with a pledge to invest in green economy. Industrialized nations are promoting green economy, which is said to be driven by growth and employment. However, some Latin American leaders are skeptical about green economy, saying it was a new form of colonialism. Let's look at this report for more on that.
The Rio Summit devoted to the world environment, there was a stiff debate surrounding the green economy. The green economy is driven by growth and employment and funded through public and private investments. Industrialized countries are promoting the green economy.
For us in Africa, the green economy is an agenda for growth, wealth creation, and employment generation. We believe that the promotion of a green economy must be underlined by clear national objectives, social and economic development imperatives.
Some developing countries do not want to be forced to follow the green economy model. Resolving poverty lies in sustainable growth and not growth at all costs, according to some participants. Thursday, 400 American Indians came to the summit to explain their concerns.
What we are concerned about is that Mother Earth is not for sale. Mother Earth is not a commodity to be traded on the trading system. The trees are not for sale.
The president of Bolivia, Evo Morales, called on African nations to nationalize their natural resources to protect them from being traded on international markets. The green economy is a new form of colonialism. It is a means of governing all peoples, all anti-imperialist and all anti-capitalist governments. Although the green economy is still included in Rio's final declaration, it is now just one of the proposals to tackle the Earth's environmental problems while tackling poverty and inequality.
The Obama administration's decision to designate the leader of Boko Haram and 2 other top members of the Islamic group global terrorists has sharply divided public opinion in Nigeria. Some legal luminaries across Nigeria believe the move could have far-reaching consequences. Boko Haram has been blamed for a string of audacious attacks in northern Nigeria. Let's look at this report for more on that.
For the U.S. State Department, he is the most visible leader of Nigeria's Islamist sect, Boko Haram. Abubakar Mohammed Shekau, who is widely believed to lead the Islamist group, has been blacklisted by the U.S. as a global terrorist. 2 other Islamists are on the list, namely Khalid al-Barnawi and Abubakar Adam Kambar. Some lawyers are worried the move may even be harmful.
Oh, God bless you. If you don't use the right solutions, it may be counterproductive. And I think that is the point that we need to be very careful about. Just declaring Boko Haram as a terrorist group without more, for me, it's not going to solve the problem. In fact, it may even lead initially to an escalation of the problem.
The U.S. decision does not include Boko Haram itself. Individuals are blacklisted, not organizations.
The United States has not done enough by tagging Boko Haram as terrorists. Is welcome, but we must look beyond Boko Haram, because there are people who are sponsoring them, and we know them, the government knows them. We should be able to expose them.
According to the U.S. State Department, Boko Haram and its members have caused the death of more than 1,000 people in 18 months in the north of Nigeria. Just last week, the Islamist sect claimed responsibility for the suicide attacks on 3 churches in Kaduna State, attacks which left some 50 people dead and 150 wounded.
A Jakarta court has handed a 20-year prison sentence to the man who made the Bali bomb that wreaked havoc some 10 years ago. Indonesian media have given the man said to be the expert bomb maker of Jamaah Ismailia, radical group of the title text demolition expert, and the raging conflict in Syria continues to claim many lives. The International Red Cross and Syrian Red Crescent are trying to cope with demand for their services as a result of the large number of casualties scattered across the country that is in the grips of an uprising. For more on this and other stories, we turn to this roundup of news.
The Red Cross and the Syrian Red Crescent say they are ready so that civilians can be evacuated. Hundreds of men and women remain trapped in the city by the heavy fighting and have become hostages in their own homes. A ship carrying people from Afghanistan, Iraq, and from Myanmar, many of whom had legal papers to stay in Australia, sunk in the Indian Ocean between Indonesia and Australia. The ship had begun the voyage in Sri Lanka. Reports said 3 people were confirmed dead with 80 others missing. At least 109 people were taken off the sinking ship and rescued and were taken to Christmas Island. A court in Jakarta, Indonesia has handed a 20-year prison sentence to Umar Patek, considered to be the demolition expert for the Jamaah Islamiyah, the radical Islamic group there. He was not given the death sentence handed to 3 other Islamic radicals for their participation in the attacks on the island of Bali, in which more than 200 people were killed, mostly foreign tourists. Patek was also found guilty of making the bombs used in the attacks on churches in Indonesia in December 2000. Is the president of Paraguay, Fernando Lugo, on his way out? The Paraguayan House of Deputies has just voted to force Lugo to step down as president 1 year from the end of his mandate. They are accusing him of encouraging hatred among social classes. But the former priest who became president in 2008 refuses to step down, even though most of Paraguay's politicians want him to go. Only officials from neighboring countries want him to stay.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. President Jammeh has